It all started with a spark of playful frustration during his latest Weverse Live on November 24th, 2025, a moment that crackled like the first bite of something unexpectedly delicious, pulling in over 6.5 million real-time viewers who weren't just there for the food, but for the effortless way Jungkook turns ordinary evenings into shared adventures. There he was back in the familiar glow of his kitchen after a whirlwind week of Japanese interviews and album teases, his long hair tied back in a loose ponytail that framed his face like a soft halo, strands escaping to dance with every animated gesture. Dressed in that oversized black hoodie from his practice sessions, sleeves rolled up to his elbows revealing the subtle flex of forearms honed by endless rehearsals, his eyes sparkled with a mix of exhaustion and mischief. The camera caught him mid-restart, fiddling with his phone as the initial live title, "Let's Try Cooking," glitched out, prompting a sheepish laugh and a quick pivot to, "Why isn't this working?" He leaned into the frame, that signature dimple flashing as he waved at the flood of purple hearts pouring in. "Ah, technology, always keeping me on my toes," he chuckled, his voice a warm baritone that wrapped around listeners like a cozy scarf on a crisp soul night. But beneath the humor, there was that raw honesty fans crave, the kind that slips out when he's not performing, just existing, sharing slices of his world like homemade pasta sauce. Jungkook rubbed the back of his neck, a casual tick that betrayed the lingering ache from hours of dance and vocal drills, and let out a contented sigh. "I'm hungry again, you know? Just got back from practice, and my stomach's rumbling like crazy." It wasn't a complaint. It was an invitation, the sort that made Army Worldwide pause their evenings, brew tea, and settle in for what promised to be another chapter in his domestic saga. He shifted on his stool, the faint creak of wood blending with the sizzle starting on his induction stove, and glanced at the chat exploding with encouragements and recipe suggestions. "Okay, let's do this properly this time. I want to make a pasta that doesn't exist yet. Something wild, but not too complicated, because who has time for that after a day like today?" The way he said it drew smiles across screens, because it was so quintessentially Jungkook, ambitious yet approachable, turning a simple meal into an experiment that mirrored his creative spirit. Here was the artist behind global anthems like Seven and 3D, the performer who'd electrified stadiums from Tokyo Dome to Wembley, now channeling that energy into chopping chives with deliberate, rhythmic flicks of his knife. He wasn't staging a show. He wasn't chasing perfection for the lens. He was just diving into the joy of creation, the internal spark of curiosity clashing with the practical pull of hunger after a schedule that left most people drained, between bursts of laughter at his own mishaps, like the chives that refused to slice evenly, prompting a dramatic "go away, you," and excited hums as the aroma of garlic and olive oil filled the air. He wove in glimpses of his routine. "This is going to be dangerous, I can tell," he warned with a grin, drizzling what looked like a secret blend of sauces over his custom pasta creation, a whimsical fusion of seafood hints and fresh herbs that he dubbed the pasta no one's tried before. Steam rose in lazy curls, catching the light like stage fog as he plated it with a flourish, twirls of noodles glistening under a shower of grated cheese and those stubborn chives scattered like confetti. He dove in fork first, mukbang style, bites punctuated by wide-eyed delight and the occasional head tilt of satisfaction. Seriously, it's delicious. "I ate well today," he admitted, cheeks warming from the heat and the fullness, wiping his mouth with the sleeve of his hoodie in that boyish way that melts hearts. But even in the indulgence, a savory, umami explosion that evoked comfort amid chaos. He layered in reflection, the undercurrent of someone always balancing indulgence with intention. "Practice was intense today. My body's screaming for fuel, but tomorrow, I need to move it off. Cardio calls." This mukbang wasn't mere escapism. It was a portal into his evolving wellness rhythm, one that's grown from the high-octane BTS tours to a more mindful solo cadence. Jungkook has long championed movement as his anchor. The way a run unravels the tangles of melody in his mind, sharpens focus for studio nights, and honors the vessel that's carried him through triumphs and trials. Echoing past escapades like the Run BTS, escapades where he'd dash alongside his brothers amid breathless banter, or the serene jogs with Taeyong in Are You Sure? That turned riversides into runways for reflection. The Han River remains his North Star. That serpentine 20-kilometer vein through Seoul's heart, lined with rustling ginkgo trees and pedestrian paths that hum with evening strollers, isn't just exercise terrain for him. It's a canvas for clarity, a place to shake off the residue of spotlights and reconnect with the rhythm of breath and beat. As he polished off his experimental pasta, savoring the last twirl with a contented, why doesn't this exist everywhere? The talk circled back to motion. I've been running along the Han River lately, he shared, his tone shifting to that earnest cadence fans recognize as prelude to promise. Aiming for 3 times a week now, cardio to keep things balanced. Who's with me? Let's hit the paths, but give me space, yeah? I'll be out there, leading the pack in spirit. His voice softened with the food's warmth settling in, a gentle food haze blurring the edges, yet his eyes held that quiet resolve. After eating like this, I always crave the river. The air, the lights reflecting off the water. It's my reset. Fans leaned in, the chat a cascade of virtual cheers and personal pledges, running for JK. Han River Squad assemble, transforming the live into a tapestry of collective aspiration. It was his second long broadcast that week, a pattern of 5 to 6 hour marathon squeezed between album whispers and international jaunts, yet he infused it with levity, teasing Namjoon about running as a cryptic spoiler, drawing squeals of album hint, bantering with J-Hope's cameo comment that lit up the feed, and even demoing his knife-sharpening ritual with professor-like precision. Sweating already? Wah, this stove doesn't play, he quipped, dabbing his forehead, but the energy was buoyant, a far cry from drowsy confessions of old. When the stream wrapped around 10 p.m. Korea Standard Time, after 72.7 million likes and waves of goodnights, viewers assumed the night would fade into rest. The autumn chill nipped at Seoul's windows, streets slick with evening mist, a perfect excuse to curl up. His "Let's Run" lingered like an aftertaste, half tease, half truth, easily overshadowed by the pasta's glow. Clips of his chives battle and satisfied slurps went viral on TikTok, archived as gems in the ever-growing Jungkook live lore. The epilogue, it seemed, was scripted, dishes rinsed, lights dimmed, dreams of melodies chasing him into sleep. But Jungkook defies the predictable, not with fanfare, but with the understated tenacity that carves legends from whispers. Fans know this alchemy. He floats ideas like feathers, yet they land as stones of action. What emerges as banter in one breath often materializes under twilight skies. Hours later, as November 24th bled into the 25th, notifications hummed alive. His Instagram story dropped like a secret breadcrumb, a hazy snapshot of the Han River's embrace. The Jamsugyo Bridge's graceful span etched against a bruised purple dusk, paths bathed in the soft amber of sodium lamps, a lone flag fluttering in the breeze like a distant cheer. Captioned with cryptic flair, "Out here chasing the vibe," it pulsed with intent for those tuned to his frequency. Army detectives connected dots in seconds. The Liv's cardio vow, the river's recurring role, the timing post-mukbang. Hashtags ignited. Hashtag Jungkook on Run November. Hashtag cardio with JK. Trails of speculation weaving through X and Weverse. Man of the hour strikes again. One tweet beamed, splicing story screenshots with live timestamps. Another echoed his words. 3 times a week? He's building an empire of endorphins. Join the run, Army. The call was inclusive yet intimate. Embrace the motion, honor the boundaries. No flocks, just parallel paths pulsing with shared pulse. And then the poetry unfolded. As twilight deepened into velvet night on November 25th, fans' vigilance bore fruit. Candid captures surfaced on socials, raw and reverent. A hooded silhouette in sleek black athletic gear, cap pulled low, hoodie zipped against the nip, shorts hugging legs sculpted by discipline, striding purposefully along the riverside promenade. Earbuds in, phone gripped loosely, tracking miles via app, perhaps, or cueing a playlist of lo-fi waves and BTS B-sides. His gait was measured poetry, not the thunderous sprints of dynamite eras, but a fluid jog, rhythmic, restorative, alive with autumn's hush. The Han unfurled beside him, waters whispering secrets to the skyline's twinkling spires, air laced with the metallic tang of dusk and damp leaves. He paused mid-stride in one frame, glancing sidelong at his screen, breath clouding faintly, maybe logging the distance, skipping to begin for irony, or simply breathing in the vastness. No entourage, no flashes, just a 27-year-old reclaiming rhythm. One footfall echoing his live's light-hearted pledge. A time-stamped clip from afar, lens misted by the river's breath, showed him under the bridge's shadow, form unmistakable even in silhouette. Broad shoulders rolling with ease, steps sinking to an unseen beat. He's doing IT, post-pasta power. An Instagram reel crowed, amassing views like wildfire. X threads bloomed. From Chive's chaos to Han hustle, Jungkook's consistency is chef's kiss. The juxtaposition was electric. Mere hours prior, he'd been fork deep in noodle nirvana, sauce lingering on his lips like a lover's kiss, body humming from savory satisfaction. Now, under the river's watchful gaze, he was in flight. Mist beating on his cap, pavement humming beneath Nikes, the mukbang's warmth transmuted into kinetic fire. And in that shift, millions felt the spark ignite. This transcended workout checkboxes or idol aesthetics, the jawline that slays billboards or the core that commands Calvin Klein. This was Jungkook honoring a whim voiced over herbs and heat. A cardio commitment, 3 times weekly, woven into his tapestry without decree. He owed no proof, no performative laps for streams, no pre-jog flex or victory reel. He just went. And in that unadorned act, he forged something seismic, a personal pulse that reverberated globally, turning solitude into solidarity. This is Jungkook's essence distilled, elusive yet earnest, a quiet force that sneaks up like dawn. He doesn't trumpet targets with reels or rings. He nurtures them in nights quiet, away from algorithmic applause. He doesn't mythologize grit as epic. He embodies it in hoodie-clad strides, knowing motion mends what schedules splinter. He doesn't mandate routines for validation. He iterates through dips, post-practice fatigue, creative whirlwinds, emerging steadier, rain, or resolve. In Alive, he circled this ethos like sauce in a pan, delaying runs for one more bite, yet vowing consistency amid the steam. Motivation wavers, but the river waits. He mused, voice trailing as he savored the final strand, tying back to blood test tweaks and sparkling water sips from weeks prior. Fans caught the thread. The subtle evolution from September's sleepy, maybe, to November's affirmed 3 times. They empathized. The grind of solo sales and BTS's constellation. Injuries mended, melodies mid-birth. He toils in shadows, fueling fires for unannounced drops, yet pauses to plate pasta and plot paths. Thus, the Riverside revelation felt like narrative's next verse. A fueled frame electing flow over inertia. A sated soul selecting stamina over sprawl. A tender spirit summoning stride. Even as fullness whispered linger. Those captures, shaky, distant, devout, intensified the intimacy. Confessions weren't vapor. They were vows voiced, hurdles hurdled, horizons chased. The viral frame, a figure mid-motion on the walkway, phone aglow like a talisman, evokes life's unscripted reel. No orchestration, no hovering crew, merely a man in twilight's truce, fulfilling what bubbled over boiling water. The Han's murmurs sync to his heartbeat, a symphony sand spotlight. That's the alchemy fans cherish unbound. He alchemizes perhaps to pavement without parade, fleeting fancies to fervent footfalls, evening candor, over innovative twirls to nocturnal nurture. Imperfect? Utterly. Estimates peg it at 20 to 40 minutes. No ultramarathon medal. Unvarnished? Profoundly. Damp hair curling at nape. No filters veiling vigor's raw edge. but authentic. An authenticity in Jungkook slices soul deep, stripping K-pop's veneer to unveil the dreamer who once chased fireflies, sketched stars. He could have lingered in languor, replaying army echoes or strumming strings till stars surrendered. Opted for Oasis, guitar and lap. None the wiser post-Chive's conquest. No queries post-soul-bearing broadcast, where he jested through glitches and grinned through gusto. Yet he summoned surge. Not for Feed's feast, not for World's watch, but for self. The Jungkook who trusts a trot, brief as breath, unravels reveries, elevates essence, vows vitality in velocity's vortex. Such verity fans venerate. Verity in veiled vignettes, verdant verdicts, follow through free of fanfare. It threads his golden glow, where yesterday yearns mirror off-mic mantra. Genuine, gallant, growing. The broadcast brimmed with these layered admissions, rich as his rogue recipe. Hell's pursuit amid promo pandemonium. Drives dance with doldrums when delays dawdle or drafts diverge. Equilibrium's quest in limelights and lotteries. Weariness post-pivot and phrasing. Self-stewardship for fandom's flame and fancies fermenting. No more colas, water's my wingman, he quipped, gulping from carton. Expiration peak mid-quaff, eliciting giggles. And post this, river awaits, 3 sessions, steady as my beat. The jog echoed, unassuming, unyielding, a lone silhouette versus stream sprawl, voracious. No skeptic slaying sprint or a Bedorn announcement, merely manifesting, minuscule yet mighty, a damp dusk dash, perhaps 5K forged in fervor, or amble accelerating as adrenaline awakes. Poignancy pulses here, indulgences arch to aim. Dusk's doppelganger, grinning over gourmet gambit deeming cheat's charm. Mused, sated, yet strides summon. Night's iteration ignited. Subtly, steadfastly, softly. This dichotomy delights. Flaws frankness sans fret. Fortitudes forge in foul or fair. Flawless? Nay. Zeko tiki zivon kitten quet potfits. Yet he persists, pace by pace, polishing, not for metric's mirage, but maturation's murmur. The Hanvista? Vignette of variance's voice. Metamorphosis murmurs, not megaphones. Oft a sated soul, striding shoreward, upholding humble oath after heart's haze. Therein, potency, progress, purity, reverberations rippled rapturously. Dawn's deluge. Hashtag Run with Kinovember surged worldwide on X. Army animating analogs. Urban trails aping Han's hush. Ellipticals echoing with experimental eats cued. JK fueled. Braved brine breeze blitz. A post proclaimed selfie sodden yet sunny. TikTok tides turned live loops to lunge labs. Holistic hubs honing his feast to fleet as ethos for equilibrium. By late November's hush, harmonics hummed. Devotees dovetail the dash to his discernible dynamism in fresh frames. Taut yet tranquil, radiant redux. Proof of prowess's progeny. Understated urges unite. He loped for lone liberation, serendipitously, seeded self-soothed surges, schooling masses, resolve roots in reckon, ripened by realness. Deeper, this tableau traces Jungkook's trajectory. Luminary liberating latitude post-purple cosmos. Kin charting courses. Enlistments ebbed, solos soar. He steers serenity. 7. As septuple summits. Icon interplays, Psyche's sanctuary sacred. The Han hustle, homunculus thereof. Hermitage hatched in Hearth's haven, honed in hush despite hawk eyes. Resonates with V's vein, August's allied ambles along analogous arteries. Comrades conquering crests, coaxing cohorts to congruent courses sans siege. Yet herein, hermit, Jungkook unaccompanied, underscoring self-sufficiency in serenity's seek. Ultimately, this lark lacked lavishness. Needed none. No cinematic cascade, no cresting crow. Honest. Intent. Incarnate Jungkook, hushly honoring utterances, one mist-kissed meter at a time. For faithful, such steadfastness surpasses spectacle. lighthouse in lacquer's labyrinth. As brine bowed and bird awoke, he retreated, tendons taut, thoughts thawed, for forthcoming flourish or feast. But pledge pursued, persists, Hans hush hemming. Ambition ain't absolute, it's attendance. For thee, timelessly.